so invested in that shit.
Yeah.
Talking about funding for high schools, the football team had all that money, and I played on a baritone that had a hole in it.
Take that shit.
And I put electrical tape over it.
Yeah.
To fix it, and that was all the money we had, was to buy a roll of electrical tape for me to fix it.
Yeah, it's very interesting, like, being where I'm at now is, like, I very much feel like if I went back to high school as the Gabe that I am now, like, I could run that shit.
Exactly. I feel the same exact way.
Yeah. Like, we could have torn Giles County apart if we were who we are now.
Well,
you know?
I'll tell you, man, the thing about, like, you know, we were talking about, like, the names that you have and, like, the popularity that you have. After high school, none of that means a single fucking thing.
Nope.
It still means something for the families that, like, live in Giles County.
Yeah.
Like, the adults that live there, like, everybody knows who they fucking are, and they're the hot shit. But the kids that get out and the kids that go places, they are the real hot shit. Like, all of us.
Yeah.
When you get out of your small town, you start making something of yourself that is outside of your small town. Like, I could go back. I remember, I think, like, a year or two ago. It was probably 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know. But I went back home for a break. It was like Thanksgiving or Christmas, and everybody was like, oh, shit, we're going to this. We have, like, one popular bar.
Yeah.
Right?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's one popular bar in town, and I went there, and everybody and their motherfucking mama was there, and we saw so many people that we grew up with and were in town, and we were all on the same level playing field. And I'll tell you what, we talked about, and when we were in high school and everything, we were talking about, like, 10-year reunions and shit. Like, our high school, like, student council members, they're the ones in charge of, like, getting us all back together for our 10-year reunions. And our 10-year reunion would be, like, in 2023 or something like that. Yeah. But honestly, I would be so happy if right now we all came back for a reunion, because I could show all those fucking people that thought they were hot shit, and show them what the fuck we all made of ourselves. All the fucking people that they thought didn't fucking matter. Because when we went back to that bar, and I was talking to some of the people that thought that they were hot shit in high school, they're not doing that fucking great.
And you know, a lot of them are still in Pulaski.
Well,
like, they didn't leave.
Here's the best part. I was setting this up for later, and I'm so glad that you said something where I could spring on it. All those kids that made fun of me in middle school and high school, I can pull up on my phone, and half of them, I shit you not, are in jail right now with 15-year sentences because they never got out of that small town mindset. And this one guy, I mean, this was one of these guys in the weight room that was always giving me shit. He got arrested for selling, like, I don't know, I want to say it was like, name some drugs. But I don't know. It wasn't meth. It wasn't meth. It was a type of pill. I don't know what it was.
Probably like Oxy or Hydros.
It was Hydros.
Yeah.
He is serving a 15-year sentence right now for selling Hydros, and I'm just like, it's so funny to me because in high school I put such a weight on this guy because of who he was and because of the things that he said to me and all this shit that he would say all the time. But I'm like, dude, now like we could go to a reunion right now and you fucking wouldn't be there
you would
because
be there. You're in jail.
You're in jail. And that's the funny thing to me.
Yeah, that's what I feel like, having like just the abomination that is Facebook, seeing everybody that we went to high school with, like, that stayed in Pulaski, just looks like a drug addict. And has a child on the way.
And you know, talking about people that you, like, go back to your hometown and you see, have y'all ever had that moment where you're like, I fucking knew it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, saying that I still live in my hometown, and I still go to college there, I work at a gas station there. Mm-hmm. And I've seen so many people that I've gone to high school with, and they are just like, I'm like, oh, you're on meth now.
You can tell by all the fucking scabs on your face.
I think that's funny though. though too, because we're all from the South. I do feel like that is a very Southern.
Yeah, I think so.
Like meth is a very Southern type of Southern in the sense of like, because a lot of these guys they'll just make it in their trailers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's a very like Western drug too, as far as like the West Coast. But like I have family from up north, and like they don't they don't.
County's known for meth.
Well, yeah, it's interesting because like where we come from, like meth is huge.
The funny thing is like
That's
45
so
minutes north of Cookeville is the meth hotspot of the United States.
It's so sad, man.
The county where I grew up was, at least in Georgia, like that was the county for meth.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, I don't know if you consider Missouri South. I kind of consider it Midwestern. I have a friend from over in Missouri, and like it's a small town community. It's more than what I grew up in, but there's a huge pandemic there.
Yeah.
And I feel like the smaller you get, I guess you don't have access to illegal drugs, and that's just what you have. But I mean, the bigger you get, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's a problem with like people that grow up in small towns, and people that stay there especially, and like don't try to forward their lives. Like, okay, so people can forward their lives in a multitude of ways, and people that don't leave small towns and that stay there, they usually the first thing they do, they find a girl, they have a kid, they have a family and stuff like that. But some people that don't go that route, they start looking for things externally that stimulate them.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you're not working towards something, then you have a lot of free time, and you're like, hey, what's going on around here? You start going to bars, you start going to more bars, you start meeting more people, and a good amount of these people, they're probably doing something that they probably shouldn't be doing to try to stimulate themselves, and sometimes it leads to meth.
Like, what's going on around here? Oh, y'all do meth? Okay, cool.
Classic.
Yeah. And then they'll try it.
And then
you're
hooked.
And then you're done. Yeah.
It's sad. But I mean, as far as like the rest of small town living, though, I like it because right now my trajectory is into one of the biggest cities in the world.
Yeah.
And like I'm just glad because I think not necessarily a southern thing, but a small town thing. You see these like relationships that are very close, and not to say that people don't have those relationships in a big city. First off, I haven't lived in a big city, so I can't attest to that. But I do think that right now, one of the things that I will carry there is that there's a sense of, at least for me in this like Georgia. I don't know about you guys, and you can tell me wrong, but like I don't know, like you go to New York City. I'll go to New York City and I'll hold the door open for someone.
And that's not something
they're like, yeah.
It's easy to make friends.
It's. I feel like it's going to be very easy because it's like, why is this guy being this way? I was like, well, I was raised this way.
Well, yeah. Southern
raised
hospitality is very much a thing.
Yeah,
like that's something that I experienced when I was in LA for the summer. Is like everyone was so kind of just like, oh, you're from Tennessee, like you're from the South. What's it like? Like, how does it get? Like, what do people do there? Like that kind of thing. And
meth.
Yeah. They do a lot of meth. But like, it's like, I got a lot of like, you're just so polite and like you're doing all these things that like nobody else does. Like, why do you do that? And I was like, that's just how we're raised.
Yeah.
Like that's just what you do in the South.
See, I learned that at kind of a young age. I remember I went on a quail hunt that was in Giles County.
What a Southern thing to do. Also, this was the guy 20 minutes ago that was blown away by grass growing.
Listen, I don't think quail exists outside the South. I don't think quail is a thing outside the Southeast region.
Somebody is listening, like on the West Coast, and like, what the fuck is a
To
quail?
clarify, we don't have much quail around here because people killed all of them whenever they found out they were here. All right, so it was a planted quail hunt. Yeah, they're really good.
Quail are very tasty, and that's the thing that pisses me off. Is as soon as you said I went quail hunting, I was like, God damn it! Like that's some tasty shit. So I know why you were doing it.
So on this hunt, they had one vehicle. It was like a mule or something that was carting people back and forth to the fields, and everyone like the mule would come back, and people would just hop on and like shove elbows to get on. And my dad looks at me and my younger brother and goes, "Look. These guys are from the city. They're used to shoving their elbows to get what they need.
Yeah.
Y'all are polite. If you want to go do it, you're going to have to shove some elbows." And, like, I'm used to, you know what? Whatever. I might not get what I want, but I'm not gonna like hurt someone's feelings to try to get it.
Yeah.
Because it's not worth it.
Yeah. Well, I think that, and that's the thing where like I'm ready and I can do this, and I genuinely think, and we can talk about this for a second. The only reason I think that I can now make it in LA is because I did frat life here. Because before I would like put my needs second to everyone because it's that very southern thing. But now that I'm in this, I'm like, fuck you. I want to do this shit. You know what I mean? So it's kind of that like where I think I can do it because of that now. But if I had to move to LA fresh out of high school, I would have never gotten.
Yeah,
not even
awful.
like let's say that I had the experience and the credentials to get a job, like the degree. But if I had moved there straight out of high school, I wouldn't have got it because I'm just so nice. Yeah. And that's the thing, you kind of have to be a dick to get what you want.
And that's the thing is, like, being in the South, like, everything is very passive-aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
No one out here does anything very aggressively. Like, you know, even...
Except
like,
meth.
Yeah. You know, even, like the whole thing, you know, like, I have some coworkers who are from the North, and so we, like, kind of talk about it every time, like, every now and then, and it's just, like...
We talk about it every time.
Every time. We talk about that shit every time. And, like, they're like, you know what? One thing I really hate about the South, like, this is one of the worst fucking parts about it, is, like, the whole, like, oh, bless your soul kind of thing. And they're like, it took us years to figure out that that's kind of like a backhanded kind of, like, insult.
Yeah.
It's like,
bless your heart.
Oh, well, bless your heart.
See,
I always say that I will die because I'm being too nice. Every person I meet, unless they give me a reason to think otherwise, I think that they're a respectable person that is going to try to treat me as I would treat them.
Yeah, and that's like ingrained. I feel like that's ingrained in our souls. Like that is how we are. Like that's how we're raised to believe.
The golden rule. Like I fully believe in the golden rule.
We give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And we're like, you're probably a nice person until you show me that you're not. But by the time that somebody shows you that they're not a nice person, it might be too late.
Yeah, you've probably been screwed.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm okay with that. Like, honestly, as far as humanity goes, I see it as a collective. Yeah. So if I do something nice for you and I've never met you, the hope is that you'll do that to someone else. And if everyone does that, then everyone...
Yeah. But that's just not how the world works.
Yeah,
it's not.
That's not at all how
it's
it works.
not.
Yeah.
I think it's so funny growing up in the South, too, because you've got this kind of mentality of, like, putting others before yourself. And I love that mentality, but the one thing I'm so excited to walk away from is, like, the South, people are so nice, but they're also fucking so racist. That's the thing that, like, blows my mind. It's like, how can you be so nice, but also, like, so small-minded at the same time?
People are so, because you're white.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, so, okay. I guess I'll get into this. My girlfriend, she grew up in, like, southern Alabama, like, farther south than Huntsville is where I go to school and I live right now. And everybody down there, they are super fucking awesome. They like to talk to you and everything like that. But they won't, like, if you're from a different race or something, they will accept you eventually.
Yeah.
But only if you prove yourself to them. Like, if you're a white person, you come in, then you're like, you know, they'll be like open arms and everything, and they're still nice people. They'll be open arms even if you're not, but they won't really, really accept you until you prove yourself.
Yeah. And I think that's the funny thing, to get kind of serious, like, for a second, like, whenever I grew up, like, I didn't know anybody really of a different race, because, like, the Latino community where I grew up was very prevalent, but they were also, because of the way that they were treated so often, they were very closed off. You know, you weren't friends with people who were Latino because they didn't want to be your friend, because why would they? Yeah. Because, you know, and I think that that's so funny, you know, just because, like, and this is funny to joke about, but, like, somebody like my grandmother, whenever I tell her that I'm friends with Gabe, like, she's like, that's super awesome, but she doesn't, for some reason, like, get it. It's not that it really isn't that because she's racist, it's just because that's the culture. Yeah. Well, you know, because the culture of Georgia, right, you know, at least, you know, for where we're from, it's like, people kind of keep to themselves. Yeah. If you're a different race. And again, it's not because that she's racist. She's invited you over several times. I don't think that I've ever said that. She's like, please bring Gabe over sometime. But it's because because whenever she grew up, it's just people kept to themselves because of that very disconnected. They didn't hang out. They didn't